Hey everybody, Joyce here, and I am really excited to introduce you to our new project here at Steam Pump Ranch in the Heritage Garden area, and it is a Monarch way station. I'm so pleased to meet Hank Verbais and Don Hartley. Both of them have been wonderful helps in this project, and Hank is a Pima County Master Naturalist, and he's a Tonal docent. He knows all about butterflies, and he's here today to help us get this project started. How you doing, Hank?
Yeah,
Thanks for
great.
having you here.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. This is really exciting. As we all know, we're seeing less and less monarch butterflies as the years progress. This past year, or probably even the past 2 years, have been really difficult for the monarch butterfly population all over the United States. And the monarch butterfly really is the only butterfly in the U.S. that migrates such a long distance to get to their breeding grounds in the winter. Those breeding grounds are either in Mexico in the state of Michoacan or along the California coast. And I know from personal experience, if you've ever seen monarch butterflies roosting in the winter time along the California coast, it's a absolutely incredible sight. You can see these huge masses of monarch butterflies hanging down from eucalyptus branches in eucalyptus groves. But getting back to where we are here at Steam Pump Ranch, this is really exciting. This Monarch way station will really help monarchs who are still migrating through the area in the late summer and fall, and then migrating north again in the spring. This will give, especially in the spring, this will give the female monarch butterflies a place to lay their eggs, because one of the key ingredients for a monarch butterfly way station are milkweeds, and we've got 3 or 4 species of milkweed here, and we might be able to talk about those in a minute. I think it's important for people to understand that milkweeds are important for the female to lay her eggs on. They're also important because they can get nectar, both the male and female can get nectar from the flowers. But the key thing, without an adequate supply or a ready supply of milkweed, the female's not going to lay eggs, and that's going to really stress the population even further.
Okay, so this is Don Hartley again, and my dear friend and a wonderful volunteer, and she has just been so helpful in getting this project off the ground. Actually, she was the one that put all the knowledgeable people together, and so this is why this wonderful project is jumping off the ground. Without her help, it wouldn't happen. So we're having a really, really good time here, and we're really excited to get this going.
As we just discussed, we're here at the Steam Pump Ranch Monarch way station, and hopefully this is going to turn into a butterfly way station, not just for monarchs. But we've got a really good start here, and I think it's important that we go in and point out these plants. We're going to start with this great big kind of anchor plant in the background. This is called a seep willow, Baccharis salicifolius for you scientists out there. This is a really common southeastern, southern Arizona plant that you find primarily in dry washes. That's where it grows. So this plant is going to need a tad more water than something like a globe mallow that doesn't need quite as much water. So this is a great anchor plant, kind of brings the whole garden together. It's a focal point for people to look at. It's also a great place for butterflies to roost, because it gives them some protection, a place to roost, and other stuff like that. So this is a fabulous plant. The other 2 really cool plants in here, which really aren't monarch attractors per se, but they are great pollen plants and nectar plants. And this is called a Mexican sunflower, Tithonia fruticosa. If you want a Mexican sunflower in Tucson, this is the one to get. If you go to any big box store and say, I want a sunflower, you probably won't get this one. This one does really well here. It's a late fall, early winter bloomer, so it gives you some late fall color. It attracts birds, butterflies, and this will keep blooming through the first frost. And if you've been here all winter, you know we didn't really have a frost this year. That's why this one is still blooming. Now, the other plants in here, these are all critical plants for monarch butterflies, especially the female. I want to emphasize that because the milkweed is the only plant genus that the female monarch will lay her eggs on. If there are no milkweed plants, there's not going to be any butterfly eggs and baby butterflies flying around after that. So let's start with these. Again, this is a globe mallow. I'm not going to talk too much about that. This is a great color plant. You can see it's blooming right now. This is one of the first desert plants that blooms in the springtime. I love this. This is one of my favorite plants. So the next one that's really important, this is called desert milkweed. This is Asclepias subulata. Asclepias is the genus in which all milkweed plants reside. So this is really a critical plant. This is a really low water use plant, and it's great for a monarch way station. So we'll move over here to this one in the front. This is called narrow leaf milkweed, Asclepias angustifolia. This is a great plant. You see, it has some color, some white flowers. That's perfect. As milkweeds go, this will probably take maybe a tad more water than the subulata, but it's still, they'll go together. They'll play nicely together here. And the third one that works really well here in our kind of high desert, 2,500 feet or so, is the pine leaf milkweed, Asclepias linearia. So that's all three of these are perfect if you guys are planting a butterfly garden at your house. These are the ones you want to get.
So this part of the garden is the in-ground pollinator garden, the Monarch Way Station garden. Later on, children from the community will be coming and they'll be taking milkweeds and they'll put them in pots and take them home, which will start a homegrown national park all over the community. So right now I'm going to plant this one, which is the desert milkweed and is the Asclepias angustifolia. And Hank's going to show Dawn exactly how you want to plant something like this. Now this one thing you want to know when you're undoing the plant is you can see that this has been in the pot a little bit too long, so it's a little bit root bound. And so what I do is I just kind of break up these roots a little bit. And plants they don't really want to be in the pot too long, so you want to break this up.
So you don't want to break it up too much. You don't want to really disturb the interior of the root ball, but you want to allow this plant to get water, but you also, this is critical, you also want the plant to breathe, because believe it or not, plants breathe underground.
Yeah.
So if the soil that you're going to plant your garden is compacted by construction or your dog run, that's going to be more difficult for the plant to get air and other stuff out of the atmosphere in the roots.
Okay, so Don, come on over here and let's get this one in the ground.
So first, let's talk about the soil. This is great soil.
Yeah.
Usually good soil smells good. Smells kind of sweet. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so how deep do you dig the hole? So according to the university Master Gardener program, the hole should be no deeper than this root ball from the bottom to the existing grade that was in the plant. Your hole should be about that deep. And when you plant these, you want to plant these pretty even, make the top pretty even with the existing grade level, maybe just a half an inch or so higher. That's not really critical because the plant is going to sink down as we put water in this. So let's put that plant down in there, Joyce. Okay, that's beautiful. A lot of people will say, well, we need to put some soil amendments in here. No. So the university, over years and years of research with graduate students digging holes and planting plants, the university has found that we don't need to add any soil amendments to any of the plants we plant in the Sonoran Desert. Okay, so now the next thing is, you can see in this garden here, there's been a lot of mulch on the top. that's been spread over this garden over the years. That's really good, because what the mulch does, it helps keep the soil surface cooler, maybe only a degree or so, but it helps cool it down, and it also helps retain water. Mulch is critical if you're planting plants in the desert. You got to mulch. Okay, so putting our water in now. We just planted this beautiful milkweed, and Don's doing a great job watering it. How much water do we give these plants? So initially, we want to water this and make sure the water gets down to the bottom of the root ball and gets into the surrounding soil in the hole that we dug out. But so for the first couple of weeks, the first month, you want to water this pretty good. Even though this is a desert plant, you want to allow it to become established. Will this plant survive on native rainfall? I don't want to say. I don't think it will. I think even though this is a desert species, we want to give this some extra water, especially in May and June. Keep an eye on not just the temperature, but the dew point, the amount of moisture that's in the air mass. That's really important. You water it thoroughly and deeply. A little squirt is not going to get the job done. You want to make sure the water goes down, completely down to the bottom of the root ball. For plants like this, that's going to be about 8 to 10 inches. That's how far you want the water to penetrate. How do you know if it went down that far? Well, you get a soil probe. It's about this big. We'll see if this... Okay, after you water the plant, that's about how far it should go in. Right there, that's about how deep the root ball is. If we won't go out here and try to push it in, that's it. That's all it goes in. That was about an inch. That's not going to get it for this plant to keep it growing and established and healthy. This is how you plant all of these. The milkweeds, the Mexican sunflower in the back, you plant it the same way.
Okay, so here we are this afternoon back at the Monarch Way Station, and we have these wonderful young people who are coming, and they want to take some of this milkweed home. So we're going to have milkweed gardens all over the community, like a homegrown national park. All right, so here's how it's going to go. We're going to put the dirt in here. And let's see. Okay.
Not just fill it around.
Yeah, fill it around, right. All right, now I'm going to take this out. That gives you an idea. You should have a little pocket in right there. And you want to be really gentle when you take your plant out of the pot. So go ahead and put that back in its little hole. Go ahead, drop it in. Good job. Perfect. All right, now you just want to put a little more soil in there, and you want to be sure that you don't tamp it down really hard, but you want to make sure you kind of, get the air pockets out of there. Well, normally what we would do is you would water this now really, really well. But I'm going to have you wait until you get it home, because otherwise it's going to leak in your car. But as soon as you get home, you got to make sure that you water that really nicely.
Okay.
All right, so everybody else, let's get our plants planted. Okay, so that was great having these young people here planting this milkweed. They're taking them all to their gardens, and we hope that you do the same thing. Make sure that you get the right kind of milkweed. It has to be native. One of the best places to get that would be at the Tohono Chul Gardens. Thank you all so much, and love to see you join us. I just want to say thank you. I'm just thrilled about this project. Thank you for your expertise.
Oh, wow.
And thank you for your wonderful kindness and help.
Yeah, it was great.
On and on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.